The galaxy had always been a place of pride and power. Alien empires measured their strength by the size of their fleets. Every few cycles, the Galactic Council held a grand parade, a spectacle where the strongest warships of the known universe sailed across the stars. It was not just a show, it was a warning, a reminder to every smaller race that the Council ruled the skies. This year, there was one new audience. Humanity, Earth, had recently been invited to watch the event for the very first time. Their diplomats were quiet, their faces calm as they entered the Council chamber. Around them, alien leaders smirked, their voices full of arrogance. They whispered loudly, making sure the humans could hear. They are so young, so weak, so primitive, they will learn their place today. The great screen lit up, the void of space came alive with the glow of engines. First came the ships of the Zoreth Empire, jagged beasts of steel covered with spikes like giant predators. Their battleships stretched across the horizon, glowing with red light. Each vessel carried hundreds of cannons. Their commander boasted, "Each of our warships can destroy a planet in one strike." Next came the fleets of the Zuri Collective, smooth silver giants that shimmered like rivers of light. They moved in perfect formation, their beams cutting through the darkness. The council applauded, the aliens cheered. "The Zuri," one counselor said proudly, "have never lost a war." Then came the fleets of the Arkan Dominion, enormous carriers that looked like floating fortresses. Their bays opened, releasing endless swarms of smaller attack craft, the skies filled with them like locusts. Their admiral raised his voice, "No fleet can stand against our numbers. We are the shield and the sword of the council." One by one, more empires followed, each showing their pride, each showing their might. The parade stretched for hours, from destroyers the size of mountains to dreadnoughts that could blot out suns. Every alien commander bragged, every empire wanted humanity to feel small, to feel afraid. And yet, the humans said nothing. They watched with quiet eyes. Their ambassador, an older man with calm features, folded his hands. He did not smile. He did not frown. He only listened. The aliens grew restless. Why were the humans not impressed? Why did they not bow their heads in fear? At last, the Grand Speaker of the Council stood. Her voice thundered through the chamber. "Humans of Earth," she declared, "you have been invited to witness the true strength of the galaxy. You now understand that the Council rules the stars. Your fleets are nothing but toys. You will respect the order we have built." Laughter filled the chamber. Alien voices echoed with mockery. Some pointed at the humans. Others shook their heads. "They have only small cruisers," one alien sneered. "A few fragile colonies, a few outdated guns." Another whispered, "They should be grateful we allow them here." But still the humans did not answer. Their ambassador stood slowly. He adjusted his coat. His eyes scanned the chamber. And then, in a voice soft but clear, he said, "Thank you for the invitation. We have seen your fleets. We understand your strength. But remember this, the stars are vast, and not everything you see is everything that exists." The aliens blinked, confused. The council speaker narrowed her eyes. "What do you mean human?" she demanded, but the ambassador simply bowed. He gave no explanation, no hint. The humans walked out of the chamber with calm steps, leaving behind only silence. Outside, the galaxy continued to cheer for its own power. The warships kept sailing across the stars, but in the shadows of deep space, whispers began to spread, a question no alien wanted to ask aloud. If the humans were so weak, why did they not tremble? Why did they not beg for protection? Why did their ambassadors speak with such quiet confidence? The parade ended. The fleets dispersed. But the unease lingered. For the first time in centuries, the aliens felt something new. Not pride, not arrogance, but a seed of doubt. And somewhere far from the eyes of the council, in the cold darkness near Earth's borders, a massive shape waited in silence, a ship larger than anything the galaxy had ever built. Its guns slept, its engines quiet, but its presence was enough to make the stars shiver, and soon, the galaxy would know. Humanity was not silent because it was weak. It was silent because the storm had not yet begun. The great parade had ended. The alien fleets had returned to their home systems. The council chambers still rang with laughter from the day before. They believed humanity had been humbled. They believed Earth had accepted its place as a small and powerless world. But in the dark corners of the galaxy, rumors began to spread. Small voices whispered in hidden bars and secret channels. Voices of scouts, smugglers, and spies who had traveled close to human space. They told stories that no one wanted to believe. "I saw it," one alien merchant said nervously. "A shadow in the void, larger than any ship I have ever seen. It was not alien. It carried human markings, but it moved so silently, so slowly, as if the stars themselves bent around it." The listeners laughed, calling him a drunk, but the merchant swore by his life that his words were true. Others added to the tale. A scout ship from the Arkan Dominion had vanished near the asteroid belts. When wreckage was found weeks later, it was burned clean through with a single shot. No alien weapon was so precise, so absolute. In the halls of the Zuri Collective, the whispers grew louder. Spy masters reported that human shipyards were building far more than simple cruisers. They spoke of hidden facilities buried under Earth's oceans. They spoke of ship silhouettes seen moving beneath the black of Neptune. Batun's shadow. The reports were dismissed publicly, but behind closed doors, alien admirals began to wonder, why had the humans been so calm? Why had they left the council chambers without fear? What secret gave them such quiet confidence? The council tried to silence the rumors, but the galaxy is wide, and whispers travel faster than light. Stories spread across colonies, stories of human war machines that could eclipse suns, stories of cannons that could slice through fleets in one strike. The more the council denied them, the more the people believed them. Meanwhile, on Earth, silence remained. The planet looked ordinary, its colonies humble, its fleets small, but deep below the calm oceans, engineers worked day and night. In shipyards hidden from alien eyes, titans were being forged, each one larger than mountains, each one armed with weapons no alien had ever imagined. The humans called them sentinels, ships not built to impress, but built to end wars before they began. Only a handful of human leaders knew the full truth. Even most of Earth's citizens did not understand the power their world now held. It had been born from fear. For centuries, humans had watched the galaxy with caution. They saw empires rise and fall. They saw planets burned. They knew that one day, Earth would face the same fate. So they prepared in silence. They built in shadows. They turned every insult, every laugh, every dismissal into fuel for their work. Back in the council chambers, alien arrogance began to crack. One night, the Grand Speaker summoned her advisors. "The humans are too quiet," she said. "Find out what they are hiding." She dispatched fleets of spies, covert missions, silent probes, but every time a probe entered human space, it vanished. Every scout sent near Earth's outer colonies was lost. No wreckage, no signal, only silence. The Arkan Admiral slammed his fist on the table. "This is impossible. They are primitive. They cannot hide fleets from us." But his eyes betrayed doubt. Even the most arrogant among them began to feel uneasy. Then came the message. A single transmission intercepted near the outer rim. It was human in origin, a training broadcast for their fleet, but the signal was brief, almost accidental. Only a fragment was captured, and within that fragment an alien linguist translated one chilling line: Dreadnought 7, weapons calibration complete. The chamber fell silent. Not one dreadnought, not two, 7. The word spread like fire through the galaxy. The rumors no longer seemed like fantasy. The council could no longer laugh. The seed of fear had grown, and somewhere beyond the rim, in the dark expanse of space where no alien dared to travel, a fleet of shadows stirred. Their engines glowed faintly, like embers before a storm. And though the galaxy had not yet seen them, the time was coming. The humans would not remain silent forever. The whispers had grown too loud to ignore. Across the galaxy, every tavern, every military outpost, every council hall spoke of humanity's secret. Some believed it, others mocked it, but none could prove the truth. The council felt their grip slipping, and so they made a choice. They would force the humans to reveal themselves. A summons was sent. It was not a request, but a demand. The council ordered the humans to bring their strongest ship to the central star system. There, before the eyes of every empire, their fleet would be compared to the armadas of the galaxy. The challenge was meant to humiliate. The aliens wanted the humans exposed as weak pretenders, a species playing soldier in a war they could never win. When the message reached Earth, the ambassadors read it in silence. The council expected anger, protests, excuses, but the humans simply nodded. Their reply was short, almost casual. We accept. The council chamber buzzed with laughter when the reply was read aloud. They accept, one alien lord chuckled. They will send our little cruiser, and we will crush them with shame. The Zuri admiral smirked. Perhaps they will send 2 ships to make it less pitiful. Even the Grand Speaker allowed herself a thin smile. To them, it was already a victory, but not everyone laughed. The merchants who had seen the shadows, the spies who had intercepted fragments of strange signals, the admirals who remembered missing fleets near human borders, they felt unease crawling in their chests. What if the whispers were true? The day of the challenge arrived. The galaxy gathered. The central system was filled with ships. Thousands upon thousands. Every empire had sent their best, eager to witness humanity's humiliation. Massive dreadnoughts floated like mountains in the void. Carriers stretched across the horizon, releasing swarms of smaller craft. The stars themselves seemed hidden by the sheer mass of the fleets. The humans arrived late. Hours passed with no sign of them. The council grew impatient. The Grand Speaker sneered. Perhaps they are too ashamed to appear. But then the silence broke. A single signal appeared on the scanners. One ship approaching slowly, calmly, from the edge of the system. The alien admirals laughed. Only one, just as we thought. The chamber filled with jeers and smug voices. But as the ship drew closer, the laughter began to fade. It was not a cruiser, it was not a frigate, it was something else. A shadow spread across the void, so vast it blotted out the stars behind it. The alien fleets fell silent as the shape revealed itself, a warship of impossible scale, its armor black as night, its hull scarred with age yet gleaming with power. It moved like a beast waking from slumber, slow, deliberate, unstoppable. Gasps filled the chamber. Some aliens trembled, others refused to believe their eyes. That cannot be human, whispered one counselor. The scanners screamed as they tried to measure the vessel. Its size dwarfed every dreadnought in the system. Its weapons bays stretched for miles. Its engines pulsed with energy older than the empires themselves. And then came the message. A human voice echoed through every channel, calm, steady, without arrogance. This is Sentinel-1. Standing by for demonstration. The alien admirals froze. Sentinel-1. The words cut deeper than any weapon. If this was one, then how many more existed? The council chamber was filled with chaos. Some shouted that it was impossible. Others whispered that the rumors were true all along. The Grand Speaker slammed her staff on the floor. Silence, she roared, though her own voice trembled. This is a trick, a deception. But even she could not hide the fear in her eyes. The human ambassador rose. He did not smile. He did not boast. He simply said, "You asked for our strongest ship. Here it is." The galaxy that once mocked humanity now stared in silence, a silence thicker than space itself. For in that moment, every alien leader realized the truth. The humans had never been weak. They had only been waiting. And now the storm was at their doorstep. The system was quiet. Billions of eyes from across the galaxy watched the central feed. Alien families crowded around their screens. Admirals leaned over tactical tables. Politicians held their breath, all of them staring at the impossible shadow that now floated in the void. Sentinel-1. The human warship moved like a slow storm. Its hull stretched beyond imagination, black plates shining under distant starlight. Every ridge of its armor carried scars of construction. It looked ancient and eternal, like it had always been waiting in the dark. The alien admirals tried to keep control. Measure it, analyze it, find the weak points, they barked. But the scanners failed. The ship was too large, too dense, its systems cloaked in layers of interference. Even the most advanced alien sensors returned static. It was as if the vessel was wrapped in silence itself. The council chamber erupted in debate. The Grand Speaker's voice shook with anger. This is intimidation. The humans built one oversized shell to frighten us. But no one fully believed her words. Every admiral could feel it in their bones. This was no empty shell. The demonstration began. The alien fleets were ordered to display their might. First, the Zorath dreadnoughts surged forward, their hulls glowing red, their cannons spitting fire across the void. Energy beams cut through the black, explosions echoed in the silence of space. They fired every weapon, each strike strong enough to tear moons apart. The galaxy cheered. Once again, the aliens believed they would show their dominance. Sentinel-1 did not move. Its hull absorbed the light of the blasts without flinching. Not a single shield flared, not a single plate cracked. The alien fire vanished into its armor like rain against a mountain. The cheers faltered, confusion spread. The Zorath commander shouted for a second volley, then a third, but the human warship remained untouched. It did not return fire, it simply waited, silent, patient, terrifying. Next came the Zuri collective. Their silver warships formed lines like rivers of light. They unleashed beams of pure energy slicing across the void with surgical precision. The strikes struck Sentinel-1 again and again, but nothing happened. No reaction, no damage, only silence. The Zuri admiral clenched her teeth. It is impossible. No ship can resist this firepower. Yet the truth floated before her, a truth too large to deny. The chamber filled with nervous whispers. Was the human ship indestructible? Had they built something beyond alien science? The Grand Speaker demanded an end. Enough of this game, humans. Fire your weapons. Show us what you truly carry. The human ambassador nodded once. No arrogance, no smile. Oh, really calm, he turned to the screen and gave a single command. Demonstration, minimal output. The void lit up. Sentinel-1's side opened, revealing rows of cannons, not dozens, not hundreds, but thousands, each one glowing with restrained power. The aliens gasped as the ship shifted slightly, its weapons aligned with a dead asteroid floating at the system's edge. A single volley fired, 1 second, one strike. The asteroid did not crack, it did not shatter, it simply ceased to exist, turned into dust and light, gone, as if it had never been there. The chamber fell silent. No one moved, no one breathed. Every alien understood at once. The humans had not even aimed at them. They had used a minimal output strike. And yet, it was more destructive than any weapon in the galaxy. The Zorath commander's mouth went dry. If that strike had been aimed at us, he whispered. His words trailed off into silence. For the first time in living memory, the alien fleets pulled back. They did not advance, they did not threaten. They simply drifted in hesitation, their pride cracked, their certainty gone. The human ambassador's voice echoed softly across the system. This is Sentinel-1. One of many. We did not come here to threaten. We came because you demanded it. Now you have seen. The galaxy that had laughed now trembled. The aliens stared at the black giant in the void, and in their hearts, a single thought burned. If this was only the first reveal, what else were the humans still hiding in the dark? The silence after the first reveal weighed heavier than any weapon. For the first time, the alien fleets hesitated. Their commanders shifted nervously, their crews whispered in fear. The galaxy had expected a fragile human cruiser. Instead, they faced a warship that seemed like a god of steel, but pride is a dangerous fire. The Council could not allow their fleets to retreat without a fight. The Grand Speaker slammed her staff against the floor of the chamber. "Attack!" she roared. "Show the humans that the galaxy does not bow." The order spread through the channels, reluctant admirals obeyed. The Zorath dreadnoughts surged forward once more. The Zuri formations lit their beams. The Arkan swarms poured out like a flood of locusts. Together, the fleets of a dozen empires launched their fury. The void became fire. Beams tore through the darkness. Explosions echoed across the black sea of stars. Thousands of weapons fired at once. The combined power was enough to burn planets, enough to shatter moons. It was the wrath of the galaxy unleashed. And still, Sentinel-1 did not move. Its black armor swallowed the fire. The storm of energy faded against its hull. Not a single scar appeared. Not a single flame touched it. The warship remained calm, silent, unbroken. The alien admirals shouted in disbelief. "It cannot be! It cannot be!" Their voices cracked with fear. Their fleets had spent their greatest volley, and yet the human ship floated untouched. Then, at last, the human voice returned, soft, steady, unshaken. Demonstration, full output, one strike. The galaxy held its breath. On the side of Sentinel-1, rows of cannons came alive. Each barrel glowed like a newborn sun. The light spread across its hull until it looked like the surface of a star. The air itself seemed to hum. Even through the screens, the aliens felt their skin prickle, their hearts pound with terror. The command came. Fire. The void split open. A wave of energy, bright and endless, ripped through space. It did not aim at the fleets directly. It swept past them, grazing their lines. And yet the effect was catastrophic. Dozens of ships vanished instantly. Hundreds more lost shields, their hulls glowing red as systems shut down. The Arkan swarms scattered like ash in the wind. Entire formations broke apart in panic. The shockwave rippled across the system. Even planets in the distance trembled from its force. The alien commanders stared at their ruined fleets in horror. And this was only one strike. One controlled shot. If the humans had aimed to kill, the system itself would have been erased. Panic spread through the alien crews. Some abandoned their posts, some screamed into comms. Retreat, retreat, we cannot fight this. But the humans gave no chase. Sentinel-1 stood still, its cannons cooling, its engines humming quietly like a predator at rest. The human ambassador rose in the council chamber. His face was calm, his voice steady. You asked for firepower, he said. Now you have seen it. He paused, his eyes sweeping across the trembling aliens. This was not an attack. This was a warning. The Grand Speaker's face had lost all color. Her staff trembled in her grip. Never before had she seen the fleets of the galaxy broken so easily. Never before had she felt such fear in her own chamber. The alien leaders who once laughed at humanity now lowered their heads, their pride shattered, their confidence gone. Some whispered desperately to one another. If this is one ship, how many more do they have? Others muttered, if this is a warning, what would their wrath look like? Across the galaxy, screens went dark as governments cut the feed. They did not want their citizens to see the truth, but it was too late. The truth had already spread. The galaxy knew. Humanity was no longer a small and weak race. Humanity carried storms in its hands, and Sentinel-1 drifted silently, its weapons now quiet, its presence heavier than gravity itself. Every alien mind carried the same fear. The humans had unleashed firepower, and they had done it without even trying to destroy. The storm had only shown its edge. The true depth of its power remained hidden, waiting patient like a shadow in the stars. The council chamber was silent, not the silence of order, but the silence of fear. Every alien leader stared at the great screen where Sentinel-1 still floated in the void. Its cannons were cooling, its engines humming softly. It did not move, it did not chase. It simply waited, like a shadow that no weapon could touch. The fleets of the galaxy were broken. Wreckage drifted through space. Thousands of ships lay crippled, their crews trembling, their weapons useless. And yet the humans had not destroyed them. They had fired only one strike, one controlled shot, enough to cripple, but not to kill. The council members whispered to one another, this was no battle. This was a demonstration. If they had aimed at us, the system would already be dust. The fear in their voices spread like fire. The Grand Speaker struggled to stand. Her hands trembled as she gripped her staff. She had ruled the council for decades. She had commanded fleets, crushed rebellions, silenced uprisings, but never in her life had she felt so small, so powerless. The human ambassador remained calm. He did not raise his voice. He did not boast. He simply said, you demanded we show our strength. We have done so. Now you understand why we kept silent. We did not wish for this moment, but you forced it. The words cut deeper than any weapon. The aliens who once mocked now bowed their heads. The admirals who once sneered now sat pale and speechless. Even the proudest among them dared not meet the ambassador's eyes. Whispers began to spread through the chamber. If this is only one ship, how many more exist? Do they have fleets of these monsters? Have they been hiding an empire larger than ours? The questions twisted like knives, and none of them had answers. One Arkan commander broke the silence. This is not possible. They are too young. They cannot have built this. But his words lacked strength. Even he knew the truth. The evidence was floating before them, and it was undeniable. The human ambassador turned toward him. Too young, he repeated softly. Yan, you measure age in centuries of empire. We measure it in the fire of survival. Every war, every struggle, Every trial has built us, and we built this not to conquer, but to endure. The council chamber trembled with unease. For the first time, the galaxy understood. Humanity had not been silent out of weakness, they had been silent out of choice. And now, their choice had changed everything. Reports flooded into the chamber, fleet commanders begging for orders, colonies crying out in fear, merchants canceling trade routes near human space, entire empires trembling at the thought of what came next. The balance of power held for thousands of years had shattered in a single day. The Grand Speaker lowered her staff. Her voice cracked as she spoke. Humans, what do you want? The question was heavy, desperate. The chamber leaned forward, every alien straining to hear the answer. The human ambassador's gaze swept across the room. He saw the fear, the pride turned to dust, the arrogance burned away, and he said only one word: respect. The chamber froze. Not conquest, not tribute, not empire, respect. The simplicity of the word struck harder than any demand for surrender, because it was not a request, it was a warning. Respect us or face what you have already seen. The Grand Speaker's lips trembled. The counselors exchanged nervous glances, and one by one, heads began to bow. Not to a conqueror, not to an invader, but to a people they had mocked as weak, to a species that had revealed itself as a storm in the dark. And still, Sentinel-1 waited, silent, calm, its cannons dark, its engines quiet. But every alien in the chamber knew the humans could end them all in a heartbeat, and the knowledge would haunt them forever. In that moment, the galaxy trembled, not from fire, not from war, but from the truth. The humans had shifted the stars themselves, and nothing would ever be the same. The chamber remained heavy with silence. The Grand Speaker's staff lay at her side, forgotten. Around her, the counselors sat pale and trembling. The galaxy's saint. Ranjist voices had been reduced to whispers, and all of them whispered the same truth. Humanity had changed everything. Sentinel-1 still floated in the void. It did not fire again. It did not move. Yet its presence alone bent the hearts of empires. The black giant seemed alive, watching, waiting. Its weapons were quiet, but every alien mind remembered the storm they had seen. One controlled strike had broken fleets. One warning had humbled the proud. The human ambassador stood tall in the chamber. He did not smile. He did not boast. His calm voice carried further than the thunder of any weapon. We did not come here to destroy. We came because you demanded it. We came because you laughed. And now you know. We do not seek to rule your stars. We seek only respect. Give us that, and we will remain as we are. Deny us, and you already know the price. His words fell like iron on the floor. The counselors looked at one another. No one dared to argue. No one dared to laugh. Even the proudest empires lowered their heads. They knew this was not a negotiation. This was survival. In the outer colonies, news spread like fire. Merchants carried tales of the human dreadnought. Soldiers whispered about its weapons. Civilians shivered as they imagined what it could do. Children in faraway worlds asked their parents, "Are the humans gods?" And no parent could answer with certainty. For the first time in history, the galaxy looked to Earth with fear and wonder. A small blue planet on the edge of the void had risen higher than empires thousands of years old, and they had done it not with boasts, but with silence, not with threats, but with proof. The council declared an end to the challenge. Their voices weak, their authority cracked. The Grand Speaker forced herself to stand, her words hollow as she announced, "From this day, humanity shall be recognized as an equal power within the galaxy." It was the closest she could come to admitting defeat, and though the words sounded official, every alien present knew the truth. It was not equality, it was fear. The humans had earned respect because no one dared to deny it. The human ambassador bowed slightly, not with pride, not with arrogance, but with quiet acceptance. Then he spoke his final words. "Remember this day, not as the day humanity showed its power, but as the day you realized what happens when you mistake silence for weakness." With that, he left the chamber. Behind him, the alien leaders sat broken. Some stared at the floor, some stared at the screen where Sentinel-1 drifted like a sleeping storm, and all of them felt the same weight pressing against their hearts. Out in the void, Sentinel-1 began to turn. Its engines ignited with a low, deep roar. The black colossus moved slowly, heading back toward the edge of the system. It did not look back. It did not need to. Every eye in the galaxy was already fixed upon it. As it disappeared into the shadows, the council chamber remained hushed. The empires had paraded their fleets to impress, they had mocked, they had laughed, and in return, they had been shown the truth. The humans were not a species to be dismissed. They were a storm hidden in silence, a blade waiting in the dark. In the months that followed, the galaxy changed. Borders shifted, alliances weakened. The empires no longer looked at one another with arrogance. They looked outward, toward Earth. Every admiral, every general, every leader carried the same unspoken question. If Sentinel-1 was real, how many more were waiting? No one dared to test it. No one dared to laugh again, because deep down, they knew the answer. And the answer was too terrifying to speak aloud. In the quiet of the stars, the humans returned home. Their people continued their lives. Farmers tilled the soil, children studied, workers built. But above them, in secret shipyards, more titans stirred, more shadows prepared to awaken. The storm was not gone, it was only waiting. And across the galaxy, the memory of that day lived on, the day when the aliens flaunted their warships and humanity left them speechless.